Coming up in this edition of Southern Newsweek, unseasonal snow blankets parts of the South Island. Dunedin's pop music receives an orchestral makeover. And racing cyclists battle it out in the Tour of Southland. Hello, I'm Melissa Barton. The Central South Island received a late dump of snow on Tuesday night, only a week after temperatures had been in the summery mid-20s. The South Today took a look.
Up to 7 inches of November snow in Lumsden turned the town into a blanket of white, with most people staying at home. 7 southern schools were closed this morning, 3 because school buses simply couldn't make it through. Heavy snow blanketed the mountains around Queenstown overnight, falling down to 300 metres, but it is melting fast as today wears on. None of the major highways are currently closed, but some of the scenic tourist routes, such as Milford Road and Danzies Pass, are closed. Further north, the West Coast and Nelson regions suffered gale force winds, and tens of thousands are reported to be without power. A storm surge in Nelson creating additional woes, with flooding in coastal areas. Wind gusts of up to 120 km per hour were recorded in the Wellington region, but damage was minor. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
A crowd turned out to Dunedin's Octagon in hopes of scoring a free burger. A long line was seen outside Velvet Burger, and for some students it was a welcome break from study.
This golden ticket allowed the first 50 hungry patrons in the queue a free Velvet Burger, although the wait was too much for some. Part-time burger model and full-time Velvet Burger worker Alyssa Mitchell says some people were turned away after just missing out.
A lot of more people showed up and I had to turn them away, unfortunately. It's probably 10 people turned up earlier and asked if they could still get a free burger, and all the cards have been given out.
But it was all worth it for those who made it through the Velvet Gates. There was something for all burger connoisseurs, and with titles like the King Saddleback to the Cheesy Bro, pork, chicken and beef lovers were in heaven. Roselle Lebone, The South Today.
The Dunedin Town Hall reverberated recently to the sounds of the city's pop music with orchestral accompaniment. The South Today was there for a full rehearsal.
Just 2 days before the big event, the Dunedin Symphony Orchestra, singers and accompanying rock musicians held the first full rehearsal for tomorrow's Tally Ho 2 event. They're under the watchful eyes of its co-creator Graham Downs, who's proved the rock and classical worlds can coexist harmoniously.
Yeah, the orchestration is born of a lot of study of, Mahler was one of the great songwriters, and he wrote them initially for piano, but he orchestrated a whole lot of them, and he really informs what I do with these songs.
He's in full flight here, conducting the symphony orchestra. But speaking before he took the baton, Peter Adams was expecting a long night.
Well, I've got to get through all 24 numbers, that's the first thing, so it's quite a lot of time management. My focus will be on the orchestra, as it's the first that they've encountered this music, so some of them will be almost sight reading, so my role is to coax them through. A few of the singers will be here and I'll happily work with them, but essentially they'll be my secondary focus, and primary focus will be orchestra, accuracy, notes, just getting the basics right.
Adams says the metonymic timing of rock music will be keeping both him and the players on their toes. Dunedin-based international opera star Annalise features strongly in the programme, taking on music written by Shane Carter and Martin Phillips. Tomorrow will be Annalise's first singing engagement since losing her voice completely due to a brutal cold. She says she's been memorising the songs without using her voice.
Singing in Tally Ho has changed, it changes the way that I sing, because normally when I sing I'm singing in a very classical, very straight way, and these Tally Ho songs are obviously pop songs transcribed for an orchestra, so I do sing it with a little bit more of a popular style, which actually I've never been taught. I'm classical trained, and I don't consider it something that I'm a pro at, so it is a bit of a challenge to step up and feel 100% confident.
Later on, during last night's rehearsals, Annalise was joined by Mitatalani Alo and Molly Devine. Tally Ho 2 is on at the Dunedin Town Hall tomorrow. But its creator is already hinting at a third.
There very well might be. Watch this space. Yes, it could happen.
Daryl Baser, The South Today.
The iconic Transalpine Express celebrated 30 years of taking tourists between Christchurch and Greymouth recently. The South Today joined in with the festivities.
Greymouth pulled out all the stops, throwing a party on the train station platform as the Transalpine arrived from Christchurch for its 30th year. One of the original planners of the tourist venture was John Bennett, who was pleased to see his dream still in action.
Well, I think the fact that it's coming to the West Coast, my old home province, I think that for me makes it special. The scenery is spectacular, and of course now we've got some, the rail's got some very nice rolling stock. It really makes it a pretty special trip.
Tourists on yesterday's journey agreed they'd enjoyed the spectacular alpine scenery.
We have enjoyed all the snow peaks and rivers, bridges and everything.
One of the original drivers in attendance was John Prince, who recalled driving the Transalpine as being a highlight of the job.
It was one of the best jobs I enjoyed doing on our roster, and I continued on that until I retired in 1992.
Greymouth's Mayor Tony Coxthorne said that the town had benefited a lot from the Transalpine.
We rely on tourism more than ever today, and we get so many coming across saying what a fantastic journey that has been.
The Transalpine looks set to ferry happy travellers across the Alps for many years to come. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
The Tour of Southland wrapped up last Saturday with its final stage from Winton to Invercargill. More than 100 riders rode 77 kilometres to complete the week-long tour. Sharon Rees has more.
Taking off from the middle pub in Winton, riders made a quick trip north through the town before heading back towards Invercargill. Mild weather meant a fast pace for the short stage 7, and by the time riders reached Browns, no clear breakaways had been made. But at the 40-kilometre mark, a crosswind split the peloton in half. The leaders, including yellow jersey holder James Pickley, about 39 seconds in front. 3 riders had broken away by the time they reached Gala Street in Invercargill for the final 3 laps. And then there was a sprint to the finish. The photo finish revealed German rider Raphael Freienstein took out the stage by 1/100th of a second. But with Pickley starting the race with a 35-second lead, his 14th placing meant he became the 61st Tour of Southland winner.
Today was tough. A lot of the peloton were throwing as many shots as they could to try and crack us, but I had Taylor who rode out of his mind today to protect the lead, and we came away with the win, which we're super happy to do. Feeling pretty good. We're going to celebrate, I think, a little bit soon.
The 900-kilometre tour finished with an awards ceremony and a traditional spraying of champagne by the tour leader. Sharon Rees, The South Today.
Coming up after the break, thousands enjoy South Dunedin Street Festival, and SIT students deliver a thesis in just 3 minutes. Welcome back. One of Alexandra's motocross riders has run off to join the circus, and now he's come back, bringing the circus with him. The South Today caught up with the runaway.
Former Alexandra man Regan Hunter has been doing motocross for a long time and is now touring the South Island with Weber Brothers Circus. The circus involves all manner of modern acts, including multiple motorcycles racing around in a globe of death. It's Regan Hunter's job to jump right over the globe. A task he says requires concentration.
As soon as you leave the ramp, obviously you've still got a little bit of control over what's happening, but you it's a calculated risk, is what it is. Like there's always risk, but yeah, you know, it's calculated. Like I know what's going to happen. You know, I feel how my bike is going. I feel the ramp.
Hunter is happy to be back in town and show his friends what his new job is all about.
Got lots of friends from around here, so yeah, it's going to be cool getting them to come along and actually see what I do, because yeah, not a lot of people from around here anyway have, like I say, I've been riding in China and then in Auckland when I was with these guys here, so it's a lot of travelling. That's why it's so cool that it's come to Alex. For me personally, you know, I can get everybody along to come and check it out.
Ring mistress Meryl Cassie is happy to stay on terra firma.
And I think I'm the only one that keeps my feet on the ground, so I have the easy job amongst these amazing performers, so that's my role. Engage the crowd, introduce the acts, make it informative at the same time without giving away too much, because we want to keep everyone surprised as well with every different act that we do.
Weber Brothers Circus is in Alexandra till the middle of the month and then moves further south to Invercargill. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
This year's South Dunedin Street Festival was held last weekend with thousands of people having a wander around stalls and watching entertainers. Organisers say the event was a success despite slightly inclement weather. Daryl Baser was there.
The Three Musketeers were among the many entertainers who captivated locals and visitors at the 2017 South Dunedin Street Festival. Speaking after organisers made sure no one, except this bear, was left behind, festival spokesperson Nick Orbell says it was a success.
We've had a great day. There have been probably more people here than at the last festival, and they've stayed for quite a long time. There's been 3 areas where there's been performance right throughout the festival, and so that's helped people to have something to do. More than compensated for a slightly less stalls on offer, but the stall holders are pretty happy. They've done well, and we're very happy that the community's been able to have a great day out and swap a bit of sense of celebration.
Orbell says grey skies and the odd flicker of rain didn't dampen too many people's spirits.
It held off remarkably. We've been anxious about that bad forecast that there was for today for, I don't know, 10 days or so. And there was skiffs of drizzle, nothing serious, so great.
He says many stall holders reported having busy trading days, and he was at pains to thank the many volunteers who made the day really work. Nick Orbell and the organising committee say next year's festival is already in the calendar, scheduled for November the 3rd, 2018. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
Over 100 pupils at Logan Park High School were treated to a martial arts instruction session recently. The South Today was there to learn a few tips about samurai swords.
Dunedin Seishinkan Martial Arts School is organised for instructor Shimizu Nobuku Sensei to come over from Tokyo. She was able to give Logan Park High School pupils an introduction to the ancient Japanese art of wielding nagitanata. The weapon was developed by the samurai class and consists of a sword blade mounted on a pole. Real nagitanata are rather sharp, so local instructor Phil Davison provided pupils with wooden versions to practice with. Davison believes the martial arts training to be character building.
It's a big weapon, so it has big spirit, and that's kind of has relevance to it for life in the 21st century, I think, because what we learn from Shimizu Sensei we can take out of the dojo. It's not just about fighting with a weapon on a medieval battlefield, it's actually about living life today. And so any situation of conflict, this gives you the confidence to deal with it, which doesn't involve actually physical fighting, but it builds yourself.
Shimizu Sensei has practiced many forms of martial arts over half a century, and now at age 75, her stamina is an example for all of us. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Students from Invercargill's Southern Institute of Technology have been condensing their work into some very short presentations. The 3-minute thesis competition earlier this week saw 7 students race the clock to deliver a whole year's worth of research in, you guessed it, 3 minutes. Sharon Rees has more.
How does geographical location determine the creative output of a music scene? How does one use imaginary friends to address difficult topics? And how do students answer such complex questions in just 3 minutes? That's exactly what these students set out to do. The idea of the competition was for students to deliver their research information in layman's terms to a non-specialist audience. And SIT's research officer Joe Whittle says the competition is a great way for the audience to learn what students have been working on.
It's not an easy thing to stand up in front of your peers, and I think some people find it's harder than they even expected when they get here. But they were great, really good range of research, a lot of literature presented in a really understandable context. Their findings came across really clearly, and I was really impressed. I like this competition. It's a great way of getting a handle on what students are doing, and I was really proud of them all, actually.
Speakers raced the clock projected on the wall behind them. Some left with plenty of time to spare.
Thank you for listening.
Others timing their speech to the last few seconds.
Thank you.
And it was that presentation by Bachelor of Audio Production student Marcus McGowan which was judged the best. He discussed the often unrecognised work of sound production.
People don't really think about the production quality that goes into things like music and film and even like TV. I just kind of wanted to point out, like, hey, there's people working like for years on stuff like this. Films take a couple of years to come out, so just to, I guess, let everyone know that stuff, yeah.
McGowan was awarded $250 and will receive the Best Presentation Award at this year's SIT Awards ceremony. Sharon Rees, The South Today.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, Oamaru's little blue penguins receive new nesting boxes, and an acclaimed photographer takes inspiration from Invercargill's Anderson House. Welcome back. Little blue penguins, which are based in Oamaru but live outside the tourist facility, have had extra nesting boxes created for them. The South Today took a look.
Oamaru has about 175 breeding pairs of little blue penguins nesting in the town's commercial tourist venture. However, another 109 breeding pairs of penguins have been identified at a nearby beach known as Oamaru Creek Penguin Reserve. The Waitaki District Council is spending more than $500,000 on foreshore protection, which has included moving a fence further back to create more space. And Z Energy volunteers are making new nesting boxes for the world's tiniest penguin. The research scientist Dr. Philippa Agnew hopes the little blues will put them to good use.
We're hoping to encourage the birds to just move in here and stay here rather than trying to nest under buildings and things in the town. Yeah, we're hoping that they'll just stay in this colony. The birds that breed here naturally will stay here, but yeah, we're hoping to encourage other birds to stay here as well.
Z Energy's Jonathan Usher said they are sponsoring the Oamaru Creek colony for 3 years as part of their Good in the Hood program. He said the reserve was important for the survival of the birds.
If we can house them somewhere that's away from traffic, away from dogs or other pests, they've got a better chance at survival. So yeah, it's cool to be involved.
Z are also giving additional donations in the form of $1 for every coffee the Oamaru Z station sells to people who have already visited the tourist colony.
If anyone goes to the colony and then comes and buys a coffee or a hot chocolate or a hot drink off us, we'll give the penguin colony $1 for every one of those hot drinks we sell as a result of people going through the colony.
It is estimated that over 1,000 little blue penguins live along Oamaru's coastline, some of which can look forward to moving into new homes. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
The streets of Outram were patrolled by Army soldiers last weekend. The Bravo Company soldiers were training for a larger exercise being held in the Nelson-Marlborough area this week. The South Today was there.
It was all quiet early on Saturday morning. Only barking dogs and early morning coffee hounds were out and about as Reserve Force soldiers from Dunedin conducted a patrol exercise around the streets of Outram.
We're local territorial forces out of Otago. We're just taking part in this area.
The aim of the training on Saturday morning was to scout around the town, then locate and interview the notional mayor of Outram, played by retired Army Major Lance Nicholas.
I'm playing the role of the mayor of Outram, and I've requested NZDF assistance to play a low-key role in sorting out some civil unrest within the town as a result of the recent elections.
Mr Nicholas, the former officer commanding of Bravo Company, says the appearance of troops raised few eyebrows in Outram.
There was some surprised looks and a lot of interest, and interesting, no alarm whatsoever.
Once the patrol was over, the soldiers relocated for the rest of their weekend-long training exercise. John Cosgrove for the South Today.
An acclaimed New Zealand photographer has returned to her Invercargill roots to shoot a new exhibition. Adrienne Martin got her first taste of art at the city's landmark Anderson House as a child and has now revisited the building for her latest project. Sharon Rees has more.
Invercargill's Anderson House has been closed to the public since 2014 when it was deemed an earthquake risk. But after months of planning, photographer Adrienne Martin was granted access to the building. And she already had one foot in the door. Martin's grandfather and great-uncle helped to build the house in 1924, giving a significantly personal touch to her project.
As a child, I used to go out there with my mother, and she would take us kids out there because it was a building that her father built. When we got inside the building, I thought it was a very beautiful building, but it was the art collection and seeing art formally presented, more or less for the first time in my life.
She says she wants her project to reflect the different forms the house has taken over the years.
I wanted to evoke a sense of the rooms even before it was an art gallery. So you get a sense of the home, the house, and its past life as that. It's had many lives, or two critical lives. That is a home, and then that is an art gallery.
With the Anderson House's art collection being moved to the Invercargill Public Art Gallery, she formed an idea of a shroud over items left in the former gallery to form a body of work she has titled Shift.
Parts of the images exposed have actually been blacked out, so there's a shift in content. And with the shrouding and crating visible, just clues there's the shift of the artwork itself being moved from one space to another. And thirdly, the shift of the life of the building into a different context from an art gallery on who knows where it was going to go.
With ongoing talks about the future of Anderson House, Martin says she's happy to see it transition into its next life, as long as the integrity of the house remains intact. Her work will be exhibited at the Invercargill Public Art Gallery early next year. Sharon Rees, The South Today.
And finally, a Dunedin teen is the only local person to be chosen for a prestigious mentoring program. He's already quite known in music circles, but according to his flute teacher, is destined for greatness. Daryl Basin met up with the prodigy.
A career that's set to blow up like a firework. He's just turned 13, but at 12 years of age, the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra accepted Jaden Jasudis into its mentoring program.
My first reaction was excitement, obviously, and I was just like, yes, this is amazing. But then I actually didn't realise that only 12 young musicians get selected for this mentoring program, and only one for Dunedin. And when I found that out, I felt very humble and honoured to be able to have this position. Yeah.
Excitement aside, he admits it might mean a lot more work.
Yeah, so I think I have accepted that there will be some hard work for this mentoring program, but I think that it's a great learning experience to get some work, because obviously I think this mentoring program will have some challenges, but those are challenges I'm ready to face.
His family say they were doubtful the NZSO would even look at his application given his age. But his flute teacher, Natasha Manovitz, believes he can do it.
He was really driven with the grade 8 exam and worked extremely hard on the things that I was asking him to do. So I can see that, yeah, he's really put in the hard work and he really deserves it. So I definitely think that he's up to it and he's going to get so much out of it. And the things he's going to learn through this program, it's going to last a lifetime.
Jaden Jasudis has been around music since age 5 when he started learning guitar at George Street School. He's currently at grade 8 for flute and piano and grade 5 in theory. And Manovitz says he's a dedicated student.
He's got the kind of work ethic to aspire to something like that. He works really hard, he's got the passion for it. and he's had the kind of training from lots of different teachers, support from his family, and he's in a great school that encourages him as well.
She says as part of the program, Jayden gets a mentoring session when the NZSO is in town, as well as tickets to Dunedin performances. But in the meantime, he's accompanying the DNI choir as they practice ahead of competitions. And he continues developing his career in time, in tune and on song. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
That's all from us this week. You can go online and check us out on Facebook and Twitter, or you can keep up with Southern News via our website channel39.co.nz. I'm Melissa Barton and thanks for watching.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.